So close to Father's Day, let's step back into childhood and close our eyes or cover them as children are happy to do. Next, scroll down those photos like a cell phone, but in your head to find the early childhood memories. Finally, select 2 or 3 and, without peeking, raise hands if any involved homemade ice cream or lactose intolerance. Bummer. Now open those eyes, Toastmasters and soon to be Toastmaster of our club. Welcome. We are going to be sharing family memories of Father, mine and yours, because I'm going to be offering up 3 sets of memories that hopefully will overlap some of your own or encourage some of your own. The first begins with lessons in humility. The second, lessons in self-control. And third, lessons in productivity. My earliest image of my dad is not in any photo album. It's not grainy black or white. It's blotchy, red and pink. Before I begun kindergarten, I noticed one morning that my dad was still in bed. He was bedridden from a bout with a weed. Not that kind of weed. The weeds that he was out with his sieve knocking out in the backyard. And that proud, punctual, powerful dad was brought so low by a lowly sprig of poison ivy. My mom tried to douse him all over to relieve his itching with calamine lotion. On another occasion of humility or even humiliation, my granddaddy came for a visit. And that meant games of Papa, where my sister and I were guarding our fort of blankets, and Granddaddy would crawl up and be the bad guy. But our salvation was in a can of spinach, because I was like Popeye, the sailor man. One gulp, and I was invincible. And my punch would take out that bad guy and send him groaning until Granddaddy said I was out. Oh, you've run out of spinach. No, I haven't, Granddaddy. I've got some more. You've run out of spinach. And he would burst through our blankets and grab us up and tickle us and wrestle us to the ground. My dad thought he would too wrestle with his kids. But he did not have the extra padding of my granddaddy. And all it took was one knee to break 3 of his ribs. But he never did scold or show his anger to me for those broken ribs, even when he got a cold and a cough. But while that was an exercise in humility and self-control, there were times when he would boil over. When I go on the rides with the kids, they're in the back seat. They get a bit overactive. I try to give them library books, but that does no good, especially on a long trip. particular time, I noticed such bad behavior and fussiness that I did show my red eyes in the rear view mirror, and that didn't do the trick. So I raised my voice with a few choice words, but no curse words, mind you. I just said, "For crying in the bucket." For crying in the bucket meant that we were past the pale and better rein it in. That may be mixed metaphors, but it was no mixed message, because we knew to stop, or Dad would stop and turn loose his red eyes. On his travels, he decided to get a CB radio one day, and he came and asked what would be a good CB handle, a name to be known by. I had been sternly corrected a time or two, and so I blurted out, "How about Red Eyes?" My mom chuckled, and my dad was stuck with it as his handle. I must say, on my travels with my kids, like my 15-year-old self-portrait here, there are times when I show my red eyes. It's unavoidable. On his third lesson, that one being be productive, my dad had to limit screen time. He kept the TV out of our household until I was in the 3rd grade. Some would say I was culturally deprived. My parents just said that TV was an idiot box. Not for Captain Kangaroo, not for Andy Griffith, not for the Lone Ranger, but it still, most of the time, was an idiot box. My dad preferred for productivity that I practice my squeaky clarinet for band practice, or that I draw quietly for masterpieces of art. I wish I could say all that productivity and lack of TV propelled me into a role of orchestra member of the Kenny G Orchestra, or commissions for Norman Rockwell type paintings. But I decided instead of performing arts, I would teach. Did I teach band? Did I teach art? No, I taught TV. My students, for 19 years, put on a TV show for the whole school, and I tried my best to be productive with that idiot box. So remember your lessons in humility, in productivity, and self-control, and other realms, and thank Dad or a father figure, because they would like to know they're appreciated in spite of the broken ribs and the red eyes.